Morning, everyone. Happy 4th of July to those in the United States. Happy 3 days late, 1st of July for Canada, I believe, and everyone else, enjoy your day. There's been a really interesting thread that's been started in the vinyl community. It's by James Griffiths about looking at what's overrated. Is it okay to say overrated? What's your view? What's your opinion? And it's been really interesting. I've been listening to some different videos on this, and I went back and forth with James a little bit about it, some of my thoughts, and he's had a lot of responses on this. And I said, you know what, I'm going to just talk about that also, because you know I we all have opinions, and that's kind of the beauty of music. We all have opinions. Nothing's right, nothing's wrong, and we should be able to say, obviously, whatever our opinions are in a respectable way. But when we look at albums, what is a great album? What creates a great album? Oftentimes it does come from the critics. I mean, I've read Rolling Stone for many, many years, and the most exciting issue is when they ranked the 100 best record albums or the 500 best record albums. Man, I always got excited about that because I wanted to see what was there. And as I began to collect more and more music, obviously, I'm in my CD room. I've never filmed in my CD room. I got one room for albums, one room for CDs. I'm a lucky guy. Uh, but as I've grown and as I've gotten older, I've really always tried to expand my collection to see what else is out there. And certain things I've always used. This was like my Bible for many, many years. I have 4 different versions of this. Plus, I have it in and there's other types of these guides that I use quite a bit. And I've always liked it because it rates albums. Is that rating correct? Not necessarily, but it gives me a starting point. So when I look at a group that I've never heard, what do I want to listen to? They say this is rated the best. This is the best one. That's what we rate. I'm going to give it a try. Why not? Let's listen to it. Let's see what it says. Sometimes I agree, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I scratch my head. I just don't get it. I've had that problem with Trout Matt's Replica, and I had a chat going on with a couple folks about that. It's like, every year I listen to that, I'm trying to get it, and I don't. But they told me a couple other things to listen to from Captain Beefheart. But, there's like this one here, Pitchfork, top 500. Again, it just goes through, but it talks about, according to Pitchfork magazine, what were the best albums. Again, a guide. I'm looking here. I'm trying to find new things. Everyone's talked about this one on here, 1001 albums to buy before you die. I have this in books. I have this in classical music. I find it absolutely fascinating. Black Sabbath Paranoid. If you don't have it, you better get it. I only got it in a CD. But it's a reference point. To me, to me, music is about history. It changes, it evolves, and I love the history of it. I like to hear how that happens, which is why I go into all this different types of music, because it's looking at how things evolve and moves forward, and it's always changing, and it's what keeps it fresh. I went and I pulled up. I went on to online. I looked at the latest Rolling Stone top 500, and I looked at the top 10. I got the top 10 right here. This is what the critics would say are the top 10. This is what they would say are rated the best. Now you look at it, you can say that's overrated. I don't agree with it, but I'm going to show them to you. Okay, how about that? So their number 1 is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Greatest album in the whole wide world. It's been on that list as number 1 for years and years and years. Is it on your list, though? You notice I have this in CD. It's the expanded, the nice one. But the fact is, I don't own it on vinyl. I could buy it on vinyl. I could get it on vinyl. I think it's wonderful. What they did, this was revolutionary. It changed the way we did music. It looked at things in a whole different way, and that's what I appreciate about it. What it did and how it, just Gave us a whole new thought of what music could sound like. But to me, is it number one? No, it's not. But to many people it is. I like it, in my opinion, for what they did and created, but it's not important enough for me to have on vinyl. The second greatest album of all time, Pet Sounds, by the Beach Boys. Again, absolutely revolutionary what they did. What Brian Wilson did, the harmonies, God Only Knows is one of my all-time favorite songs. But the whole album, it was great. I listened to it. But do I put this on again and again and again? I don't. Why? To me, it's not number two. That's my opinion. I may feel it's overrated, being at number two on the all-time greatest hits list. If you're a big metalhead, is this going to be it? No. But it's our opinion. That's the beauty of it. But I respect the people that said this is number two. I bought it because of that, because it was essential. And if I want to grow in my musical taste, I think it's important to have. Number three, Revolver. And, oh man, who just talked about comparing this to this? Which one's greater? You know what? It really depends on what you like on there. But, Revolver came in at number three. Again, a lot of different things on here. They began to change the course. It wasn't all about, teeny boppers and stuff. Suddenly they began to look at heavier material and some really great songwriting. Number four, Bob Dylan, Highway 61 Revisited. I don't own it on vinyl. Does it mean I don't like it? No. But is it essential for me to have on vinyl? It's probably not. This CD does me very, very well. I listen to it all the time. I probably listen to this more than most Bob Dylans. It's just I'm not a huge Bob Dylan fan. That said, I probably have 25 CDs and probably about 10 of his albums. Why? Because he's important on what he did. And so I buy it really because the critics have said it's very good. I mean, that does mean something to me. But, he's saying something, and he evolved music, and it goes back to the history. Collecting music is learning and expanding on what you like, and to hear different things, and to appreciate what they did. And this was a fantastic album when you get to think about that. What was that, number four? All right, number five was Rubber Soul. I'm telling you, those Beatles really, look at that. They're in the top five. That's three of the top five are the Beatles. Because again, revolutionary. They took normal rock and roll and they just blew it apart with what they came up with. Again, it's on CD. I could buy it on, I could go out, I could spend a bunch of money and get a vinyl, get an original pressing. But there's other things I feel I want more. What was number six? Oh my good, it's on vinyl. Marvin Gaye, What's Going On? Okay? So this one, I did buy on vinyl. Why? Once again, I use the word revolution. I don't have my thesaurus with me to come up with some different words on this one. But what he did is when he broke away and said, you know what, I want to talk about something. I want to make music that's important, that's relevant to what's happening in society. And that's what he did, which is why this became important. But again, that's why I like to read these books. I like to look at the reviews, to understand what they're trying to do. And it's a wonderful album. So good, I had to have it on vinyl. What was number seven? Rolling Stones' Exile on Main Street. The only reason I bought this is I read about it. I read a review. They rated it one of the best albums of all time, and I was able to pick it up probably at a decent price and absolutely loved it. If I was just out there just buying whatever, really not looking and researching things, maybe I'd never have owned this. But for me, it was important. Overrated? Probably top 10. Is it my? But I can't say it's my favorite Stones album, but it's the best rated that's in there. Nothing wrong with that. Number 8. Now this is sad. I do want this on vinyl in all honesty. The Clash's London Calling. It's the one Clash album I don't have on vinyl. I actually thought I did, but there you go, didn't. You know, punk rock, it's ahead of the Sex Pistols. And it is. To me, this is not overrated. This should be there, but it is my personal opinion. You know, James brought up the King Crimson. For many, that would be in the top 10. For me, it's not. It's just not there. This would be. What's number 9? Well, there's Bob Dylan again, Blonde on Blonde. It's nice that he had 2 up there. Again, just what he did. His early works really changed things and had people really listening. Not on an album. It's important enough that I felt I needed to own it. I needed to have in my collection. It's there for me to listen to when I want, and periodically I pull it out, but it's not a go-to. You know, and the 10th best album of all time was the Beatles, the White Album. Now, when I look at the Beatles, I listen to this one more than I listen to all those other ones. This is the one that I listen to the most. Hence, it's on vinyl, and I have it. Went out, I spent the extra money to get a very nice pressing of it, and that's, you know, to my opinion, I put it ahead of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band because there's just more songs in there that I really think is great. But, you know, Sgt. Pepper's, I can listen to it, and I like to dissect it to hear what they do. But then there's other things. I go, why aren't they in the top 10? You know, I've talked about this a billion times on this channel. Miles Davis Kind of Blue. To me, it should be number 1. I'd put it ahead of the, you know, this isn't rated high enough. I don't believe it's overrated. I believe it should be rated higher. It should be number 1. It's made such a difference. It changed how I listen to music and how I still listen to music today. This is one I play over and over and over. It's a go-to. So I think it's not rated well enough. It's at number 12. You know, here's another one, number 13. You know, we have the Velvet Underground and Nico. Wow. It's, again, one of those albums that caught my attention, and I've played a million times. I play this much more than I play this. Many people will say, though, this should definitely be rated more. I would say, hey, that's overrated. This is much better. It's all opinion. You know, when you look at, you know, things, you know, to invest your money, you know, I just recently, you know, purchased this, you know, Evil from Sonic Youth. I put down some money on this thing. Why? It was important. The money I spent on this, I could have got Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I could have got a really good pressing, a really early one. But this was more important to me. Is this in the top 500? I don't know, it may be. I never looked. I just knew when I saw it that this is something I had to have. You know, and then you just look at the stuff you have in your collection. You wonder, well, hey, that's not even right. I'm going to just, here's one. You can find this probably for $1, $2 everywhere. It's, you know, it's Screaming Blue Messiah's Gun Shy. I played this thing over and over, and I still play it a lot. Critics will say it's the worst thing in the world. They think it's awful. Many people say, well, you're overrating that sucker, and I probably am. But it struck a chord in me. It became something that grabbed my attention. I liked what I heard. Did it change the world? No. Did they do anything different sonically? No. But it was fun. It made me really enjoy. I mean, it's just something I enjoy and put on over and over. I rate this high. I obviously overrated it, but that's okay. That's what, you know what? That's what it's about. That's my opinion. And so, you know, we all have that. We all have our thoughts. What's right, what's wrong? To me, ratings is a pure opinion. I mean, a critic's not a god. They know what they like. They have what they like. I also used to get frustrated in Rolling Stone where they would just, you know, some people were on pedestals. They could do no wrong, and others were just trash. I always look at Canned Heat. You know, I've been buying a lot of Canned Heat. I never used to buy them. Why? The critics said they were terrible. It was a terrible band. Don't buy it. It was in my books. 1 star. Not even 1 star. I went out and bought them. Guess what? I love Canned Heat. But they rated them bad. but they weren't bad. So, the moral is, this is kind of a tricky one because really it's easy to get off subject on this whole thing. But it really comes down to this. Ratings is a personal opinion, purely personal. If you like metal, then your ratings are going to reflect that. I'm pretty eclectic. I like about anything. My ratings will reflect that. It's going to be all over the place with different things. But it's an opinion. It's nothing ever to get upset about. The beauty of music is we each hear different things and we each like different things, and that's what we share. And because of that sharing, we expand what we listen to. So I go, wow, I got to try this. I got to look at that. That's what it's about. And that's what I found most exciting about this whole vinyl community thing is it costs me a lot more money because I have to go out and try and buy and listen to some new things. Maybe I don't like it. That doesn't mean their thought was wrong. Maybe I feel, man, they overrated that thing. That thing stunk. It's their opinion. And it's okay. I bought it. It's up to me whether I like it or not. That's my opinion. So, kind of my thoughts on this. It's been a very interesting thread, and I look forward to kind of seeing what other people's thoughts are. So, let's all just chill out, enjoy, believe in what you have, enjoy what you have. Because that's the beauty of music. Enjoy your day.